Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan, and today we are discussing already Sports Illustrated's college football HQ's SEC predictions for the wins for each team this year. This is kind of early for it to come out, but this will probably change throughout the off season. And one thing is, if you hear my dog bark, she is outside. I've done the best she can. She's barking a bit, so if you hear her, that is why. But for this video, I won't exactly say my prediction because, well, we're like 7-8 months away from college football, which is very sad, but we can do it. We can deal with it. We do it every year, so hopefully we can do the same. And yeah, but I'll give I'll give the projected win total that they're going to get. Most of them will be like a 0.5 something, like something 0.5. So yeah, I'll decide. I will say if I believe this is possible or not. And yeah. Okay. So Missouri. We're starting with Missouri. I know it's kind of a strange way to start off the list. Projected wins 9.5. That's very high. Remember, Brady Cook is coming back though. He is one of the Heisman candidates, and this is the reasoning for it. The projected wins is 9.5. They have it being the over. They have it being the over on it. So this thing thinks college football HQ thinks that they will have more than 9.5 wins on the year. I guess I can say my over-under. I'm picking under. I'd be surprised if they get 10 wins. I would be shocked, but there's a chance. This is the reasoning. Over Missouri gets a great schedule in 2024. They have a pretty easy schedule compared to the rest of the SEC. And brings on some critical defensive transfer players. Quarterback Brady Cook and wideouts Theo Weiss and Luther Burden also return. Their offense is going to be really good. I think they will miss Cody Schrader, though. I think Cody Schrader won them a lot of games. So I'm interested to see what they do with that. Kentucky, 6.5. That's pretty fair. That's one of those I wouldn't touch because Mark Stoops usually gets 7 wins. I will put the over. I think they will get 7. I'm not a Kentucky fan. I've never had faith in Kentucky in any single sport in my entire life. But I do see them winning the games against Florida. I see them beating Auburn. I see them beating possibly South Carolina. Probably South Carolina, maybe not Auburn. Excuse me, that'll be tough. But Mark Stoops is very rare for him to ever get under 7 wins. So even with this heavily filled SEC, he should be able to. But they said they're going off the under. They're going off the under. So we disagree again. Arkansas 5.5 wins. That is high. That is very high in my opinion. They don't have an easy schedule. They face off against Ole Miss, Texas, LSU, Tennessee, Missouri, and even Oklahoma State. This is what this thing has pulled up. 5.5. This is the first time we will agree on this. They go off the under. I will go off the under too. They might get 4 wins. It'll be something like this. Same thing this year will happen next year, but probably even worse. Okay. Mississippi State, 4.5. This is a weird place. I would not want to even think about betting on this because it's an SEC team. You could see them getting above 5 wins, but they barely got 5 this year, and they had a lot of good talent. They had some pretty good talent. So you have your first year head coach of Jeff Lebby. That will be interesting to see what happens there. But we're going to disagree again. I put the under on this, and they're going with the over. I put the under. I don't see Mississippi State making a crazy change, but if I had to pick, you're playing a tougher schedule. Yeah, you barely got 5 wins last year. Probably a little bit less. Vanderbilt, 2.5. They play Alcorn State, Georgia State, and Ball State. And their openers against Virginia Tech. That you could possibly win all 4 games. Is it likely? No. You probably could win 3, though. Man, you're not going to win an SEC game. That's just very, very unlikely. But this thing has the over at 2.5. They're going off the over. I will go with the over 2. 2.5 seems like an easy thing they should be able to reach. But that's what we were talking about earlier. Last year we were discussing 3.5 wins was manageable. And they didn't even get 2. But yeah. So all that. You have next up you have Florida. Yeah, 5.5. 5.5. Interesting. Total right there. Also, again, that was my dog barking. I am sorry about that. She barks wild. So yeah, 5.5 wins is projected. They're going off the under. I would agree. I would agree. This is the toughest schedule of anyone has in, I would say, the country. Florida has a ridiculously tough schedule. That again, their final stretch is Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Texas, LSU, and Ole Miss, including Florida State at the end. Early in the year, they have UCF, they have Miami, they have, I think, someone else, USF or something like that. I don't know. It's a crazy schedule. So, yeah. Oklahoma, 7.5. I would pick the over. I see some things that I like about Oklahoma. I think Jackson Arnold can pick it up, what he has. I think they will get, I think they should be able to get at least 8 wins. I think 8 wins is manageable. And Jackson Arnold, I see he has a turnover problem, but you can fix that. You can work on that. Will that change? I do not know. Some guys you just don't know with. But good thing about him, he's young. He's not one of these old guys. He wasn't like a Joe Milton who had these problems and couldn't fix them because, well, he's already been progressed so much in other ways that it's just kind of tough to fix at that point. Should be able to fix it, but they have a lot of tough games and all that, like everyone does. But like, you should be able to beat Houston, should be able to beat Temple, should be able to beat Tulane and Maine. You have Auburn and South Carolina. That's 6 wins right there. That should be 6 wins right there. So the rest of you just got to go 2-4. You got to go 2-4, and you have some home games here and there. Again, Tennessee's a possibility. You could win that one. LSU, I could see that. Missouri, I could see that. And yeah, South Carolina. Next up, 5.5. Under. You're without Spencer Rattler. I don't see any progression in this defense. I don't see any tremendous progression in this defense. I was high on South Carolina heading into this year. I mean, last year, but they just didn't live up to it at all. So I'd be kind of surprised if they get above 5.5 wins on you. And then next up, Auburn, 7.5. That's high. That is really high for a team that got blown out in a bowl game to Maryland and also finished 6-6 on the year. That means that's the same projection as Oklahoma. Oklahoma was a top 5 team at one point last year. This team was never ranked last year. Auburn has no shot at getting above 7.5 wins. I don't care what recruits you got in anything. Can you throw a pass? Does Hugh Freeze trust his team to throw a pass? It worked against Alabama, but I saw a game against Texas A&M that they couldn't get it past midfield. And that's Texas A&M. What happens when you have to play some of these other very, very good teams? I don't know. Texas A&M, 8.5. Goodness, that's a lot of wins. Oh, no. I get it, Jimbo's not there. I understand that. But you don't just switch this around that quickly. Dan Enos, I know he's a good coach. His name's not Dan Enos. That's the offensive coordinator for Arkansas, isn't it? What's the dude's name? Mike Elko. Why the heck did I think it was Dan Enos? My bad. Mike Elko, former coach at Duke. I see them having 7. I see them having 7 wins. 6-7 wins. Not 9. And this thing agrees with me. Under. Ole Miss, 9.5. That's a projected. I'm going to go with over. I think this out of everyone on here, this is the first 10-win team I think we're going to get. Lane Kiffin is very good. He's very good at recruiting. He got a lot of great transfers. I like how they play. I think they're able to win a lot of games. They already won 11 games this year. Only losses are to Georgia and Bama. And since Saban is gone, that'll leave a door open for that. And yeah, but even Bama, okay, Bama is not on their schedule, but Georgia and Oklahoma are major home dates as a test at LSU. So we're going to have home games against Georgia and Oklahoma, and also on the road at LSU. That's tough. Should be tough. But I have faith in this Ole Miss team. Next up, Tennessee. 8.5. I got the over. I got the over in this one. I think this team could win 10 games. I believe that. But it would take a lot of progression with this receiving core. The receiving core lacked a bit, but they did go out and get a 5-star receiver of Mike Matthews. They have arguably the best running back in the SEC right now, of Dylan Sampson. If you've never watched him, watch him. He's phenomenal. Nico Lemanavala, Lavala, how do you say his name? He's a top 5 Heisman candidate right now in the bettings, top 10 at least, from at least last time I made a video about this. I think Tennessee can be very good. Do I think they're going to be? Yes. And I'd be willing to bet on it. I'm a Tennessee fan, so I'm a little bit biased, but I could see this team being really good. I think their defense showed a lot of good things last year. I think James Pierce is a very phenomenal pass rusher. And I think if they continue with that type of progression on the defensive side, with their offensive talent that they have, there's no reason why they couldn't win 9-10 games and possibly get a playoff spot. And if things break perfectly, maybe you could beat Bama. Maybe you could beat a Georgia. Tough to beat Georgia, but maybe you could beat Alabama now. We'll see. Next up, LSU, 9.5. Oh, this is a tough one. They're either going to get 9 or 10 wins. I really do feel like that way. A lot of times this year, Jaden Daniels won games because of his legs. Last year, Garrett Nussmeier does not have that running ability that Jaden Daniels has. So this defense got to improve. I'd be shocked if it doesn't, but I don't know how much they're going to improve. I really don't. I don't have a lot of faith in them progressing that much to a level that, you know what, we can stop an Ole Miss, we can stop even Alabama, even stop Georgia on offense, Tennessee, like something like that. But the projection 9.5. I think this could be 9 wins for them this year. I got the under in this one, and we agree on this one. Next up, Texas, 10.5. That's a lot of wins. That's a lot of wins. This thing has the being the over, and I have to agree. I mean, they made the playoffs. Like, they were one play away from making a national title game when they could have possibly won. They had 12 wins last year, 11 if you only count the regular season. Their one loss was against Oklahoma, who's a big rival of theirs. They might lose Oklahoma again this season. But, and the thing about this, this is what makes me concerned about picking this, is that one, they're 4-15 in the last 19 against Oklahoma, and 2, they play Georgia. That's possibly 2 losses right there. And also you play Michigan. I forgot about that. You also play Michigan. So that's another thing to keep in mind. It's like, oh, okay, that might be tough. So they could go 9-3, but also they could go 12-0. That was stuff. I picked over though. Alabama, projected wins 9.5. That's going to be very. I'm not sure how easy. I'm not sure how tough that's going to be, to be honest. This thing has it being the under. I can't bet against Alabama right now. 10 wins is very manageable. This team, remember, they made the playoffs. They were one stop away from making the national title game and all that. So, yeah. I mean, you have to play Georgia. You have to play at Tennessee, which their offense is going. That's going to be a tough place to play at. You have LSU and Oklahoma. All of them are road games outside of Georgia, which you're at home for. That's tough. That's a tough one. I don't know how it's going to work, but they still got a lot of talent. They still got a very good team. I'm never going to pick the under against Alabama. I'm just not going to do that. And then I think the next one, Georgia, 10.5. Over. They've gone undefeated the past 3 years in regular season play. How can I not pick them to go above 10.5? I don't know why this thing says it's under. I really don't know. I get it. You have Bama, you have Texas, you have Tennessee, Ole Miss, Clemson. Wow, that's a lot. But it's not the end of the world for them. They could easily win this. Not easily, but they could definitely win these games. And I have no reason not to believe that. So I got Georgia going over this one. And yeah, we'll make more predictions later on, like specifically and everything. But yeah, again, I'm sorry for my dog barking. Uh, yeah, she's been barking a lot today. Don't know why specifically, but yeah, so if you ever heard in the background, try your best to ignore it. I'm sorry about that and everything else. So yeah, put your down in the comments your own opinions about this because I'd love to hear y'all's. And yeah, hope you have a great day. Stay safe, y'all, and God bless y'all.